You're listening to the Hustled Up Podcast. I'm Laura Natoli.
And I'm Holly Silva, and we are best friends since birth turned multi-passionate entrepreneurs and co-owners of Chores and More, a successful service-based business where everybody is treated like a best friend.
Welcome to our show where tactical business education meets fun and real conversations about this wild journey called life.
Get ready to be inspired. Grab your headphones, turn up the volume, and let's hustle up.
What's up, friends? Welcome back to this week's episode of Hustled Up. I am your host, Laura, and I'm tackling today's episode solo. Not to worry, Holly will be back next week. We will all miss her in the meantime, but I have a super fun topic planned for today. Before I dive into that, friends, you know what it's time for. You know I have to ask for it. If you're loving what you're hearing, please take a minute to pause this episode wherever you are listening and watching, and go leave us a little cute review and a little love note. We would so appreciate it. Honestly, it's the feedback that we're getting on this podcast that drives us to keep doing it each week. You know, this is the most consistent I think we've ever been. And it's because we've been getting a lot of really positive feedback. So if you can go put that feedback and post it wherever you're listening or share it with a friend, we would appreciate it and love you forever. All right, let's dive into today's topic. This is another one that was given to us by Alexis. She emailed us. If you missed, the last few weeks, she emailed us amazing topics to go over. So I chose another one of those topics for today. She is a solo cleaner, and she asked us, how do you separate emotions from business, specifically when it comes to your pricing structure? And I felt that as the salesperson that does come up with all the prices, this would be an excellent topic for me to tackle because I do deal with this a lot. I'm going to be real with y'all. I mean, Holly and I really deal with the struggle of separating emotions from business when it comes to complaints, when it comes to interactions, and also when it comes to pricing. And I've gotten a lot better at this, and I'm going to help guide you. It sounds like this question came from a place of empathy. So if you're a really empathetic person, this can be really difficult for you. You want to give everything away for free. So if this resonates with you, I'm going to talk you through the process of how I was able to separate the business and the emotions when it comes to pricing. So stay tuned.
Are you tired of spending your entire weekend cleaning when you could be going out to brunch with your girls?
First of all, I love brunch. And second of all, yes, there are so many things I could be doing instead of cleaning my house on the weekend.
Oh yeah, like playing video games.
Or watching a movie with the kids.
Going on a date with your significant other.
Taking your dog to the dog park.
Going to the movies.
Solving world hunger.
Yes! Exactly. So this is why it is such a good idea to call up Chores and More for your deep and recurring cleaning needs.
And do you want to know something really, really cool?
What?
If anybody mentions Hustled Up when they call to book, they can receive up to $100 off their deep cleaning.
Up to $100 off. What are you doing still sitting there? Pick up the phone now, mention our podcast, and never have to spend your weekends cleaning again.
Simply go to choresandmorellc.com. You can fill out a request quote form there, or give us a call, send us a text, 631-397-0177. It is time to get back to doing the things you love. Let us take care of the cleaning.
All right, we're back. So we're talking about how to separate your emotions from business, specifically when it comes to your pricing structure. And I love this question. I thought that this was such a great question because I'm going to keep it real with you guys, as we always do. This is something I still struggle with to this day, to this very day. I literally took a sales call. I took 2 sales calls last week, actually, that I was ready to give these cleanings away for free because I just want to help people, especially when they're in a situation where they really need our help. They really could benefit from our services, but it's just out of their price range. My knee-jerk reaction is still give it away. We'll come for free. We'll do it at a discount. I still struggle with that to this day. So as always, I'm coming to you from a place of not perfect, still learning, and still struggling with this. But, somebody last week came in, they called, they said, I just got out of a rehab center. I haven't been home, but the place is a disaster. In their words, they said disaster. It's going to need a lot of attention, a lot of garbage removal, a lot of scrubbing. It was just going to be a really, really big job. Something I simply could not give away for free. But this person had nobody to help them. It sounded like they didn't really have family there to help them. They really were in desperate need of our help. And my knee-jerk reaction was, let's give this cleaning away for free. But I can't. And there are so many reasons why we can't. And I'm going to go over that with you. But first off, let's just talk about separating emotions from business in general, right? Because this is a topic I'm sure a lot of people struggle with. In general, I would love to do more episodes about this topic, specifically when it comes to separating your emotions when it comes to complaints, because this is something that we've really struggled with over the years and we've really gotten so much better with. I mean, I used to let a complaint ruin my entire evening. And a complaint would come in, whether it was for a cleaning that I did or a cleaning that one of my technicians did, and it would literally ruin my entire night. Now a complaint comes in and I'm just like, oh, cool. They're going to give us a chance to fix it. Does it sting a little sometimes? Yes. If somebody is rude about it or arrogant or ignorant in the way that they address the complaint to us, do I still get mad? Of course, I'm human. I have emotions. But if somebody brings me a complaint in a very respectful manner, if they are giving us a chance to either explain ourselves, come back and fix it and make it right, or just take care of it the next time that we're at their home, I am so grateful. I look at it as a gift. I look at it as a blessing. But this took a long time. I mean, I used to cry, especially if I was the one that personally did the job. I used to just cry when I would get a complaint. And that really just took some training. You just have to get used to it. You have to build a thicker skin when it comes to separating your emotions from the business. And that's my first piece of advice to you is it's just going to take time. And that's how it is. It's a muscle. I feel like mental toughness and thickness and being able to remove your emotions from business, because hey, emotions and business are two totally separate things. You know, you can always lead with empathy with your business. You can always lead with empathy with your clients, but you have to, at the end of the day, separate emotion from business. And the only way that you're going to be able to do that is with practice, with time, and with experience. So the first thing is just give yourself some grace, give yourself some time to practice this and build that muscle to be able to separate the two, because it's going to take time. Second off, I think you have to keep in mind, especially, you know, this is going to be different whether or not you're a big business or it's just you there doing the cleaning. But as I mentioned last episode, you always want to be thinking into the future, right? So say you are a solo cleaner, you don't have any employees right now. You still need to think about it as if one day I might have employees to pay. One day I might. And if you're charging pennies or you're giving cleanings away for free, you're not going to be able to pay your employees. So if you're okay with not taking a wage, that's one thing. But you can't be okay with your employees taking a low wage, taking, you know, a low paycheck. You can't be okay with that. So you always have to be thinking of things in the future. So that's number 2. Always think ahead. Always think to if you want to grow. If you want to stay a solo cleaner forever and you don't want to grow and you don't want to grow this big business, that's also fine. But if that's something that even in the back of your mind, you're thinking you might want to do one day, you have to start acting and thinking like the big business you want to be, which is why it's so important to get comfortable with your pricing and not feel guilty for your pricing. I also want to touch on why you shouldn't feel guilty about your pricing. Because again, I feel like this question came from Alexis and she must be a really empathetic person. She literally said she feels bad sometimes when giving her pricing. So she's probably a very empathetic person. And I was the same way. And it's funny because I noticed a distinct difference from when I switched from in-person estimates to over-the-phone quoting. I noticed a change in myself because in person, I mean, I love people. I'm just going to say I love people. I love going to people's homes. I love meeting them for the first time, shaking their hand, talking with them, hearing about their story. I love people. So it was really hard for me when I was in person and I would meet somebody and I jive with them. And I'm like, this is somebody I would want to hang out with. This is somebody I would want to service for sure. Or on the opposite end, this is just somebody I want to help. This is somebody who needs my help. They need our company's help. They could really benefit from it. I want to work with this person. I am so much more likely to haggle with you, to just give you a low price right off the bat because I feel bad because you're in front of me and I want to help you and I want to work with you. I was so much more likely to give in and to give cheaper prices in person than I am over the phone, because I still make connections with people over the phone. I do. A lot of people say they don't do phone sales. You can't make a connection in person. Is it the same as going in person and shaking somebody's hand and petting their dog or whatever, or, getting to meet them in person? No, it's not the same thing. But I know for a fact now, as a former naysayer, you 100% can make a connection over the phone, but it's not as strong as a connection. So I am a lot more comfortable quoting those higher prices over the phone and not feeling bad about it. So it's just something to be aware of. If you're in person, I do, for me personally, think it's a little harder to spit out those high numbers for those deep, big cleanings. It's a lot easier over the phone. So if you are somebody that's doing in-person estimates, maybe consider switching, trying phone sales. It's scary. It takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of work. You really have to have a pricing guide down to a T to be able to do it. You have to ask the right questions over the phone, get as much information as possible. But I just wanted to put that out there because it's something to keep in mind. If you really struggle to quote high in person, try something new. Try quoting over the phone. It worked for us and I'm never going back. There's a few times where I was like, I'm going to go back. I miss meeting people, but I'm never going back. So something to think about. Next, I want to touch on why you shouldn't feel bad about your prices. Because first off, let's be real. Cleaning is hard work. So whether or not, again, you're the one in the field doing the cleaning or you have employees, no matter who's doing the cleaning, it's hard work. If it wasn't hard, people wouldn't be asking us to do it for them, but it's hard work. It takes a lot of elbow grease. It's physical. It's an art. It's a skill. It takes training. It's not easy. So I want to put that out there right away. Second of all, if you are somebody that does have employees and you do have a bit of a bigger business and you have a lot of overhead, you need to make sure that you can pay your employees well. And if you're not charging high prices, you are not going to be able to grow the business and provide your employees with the salary that they deserve. And that is the most important thing. I want you to hear that because I think that is the most important point that I can make in this whole episode around this topic is you need to make sure that if you're trying to find employees, that you have a job that they want. If you have a job that pays like crap, nobody's going to want it. You want to be able to have a job where you can offer one day benefits. You can offer paid time off. You can offer holiday parties. How are you going to be able to do any of that if you're charging pennies on the dollar? You need to make sure that the business is profitable. You need to make sure that you're bringing in enough money to put it back into their pockets. So that is the first reason why I will never feel bad for charging what we do. We charge very fair wages. We are right around what everybody in our area is charging. And I will never apologize for that because I want to make sure at the end of the day that I am able to take care of my employees and make sure that they can make a fair living out here on Long Island. Long Island is expensive. And no matter where you're living, you want your employees to be able to make a fair wage. So charge, if you're not willing to charge what you're worth, charge what they're worth, first and foremost. Second, if you're running, and I know we touched on this in many episodes, but if you're running an ethical and legal business, you have a lot of overhead. Let's be real. I had no idea how much overhead went into a cleaning business. I was like, yeah, you go get a couple cleaning supplies, go get some Swiffers, I'm all set. No. Cleaning business overhead is so expensive. If I told you guys what we pay in insurances or payroll taxes, you would faint in your chair. You would fall out of your chair if I told you because you wouldn't believe it. The overhead is expensive. So you want to make sure that you're charging enough to cover all these overhead expenses. Having insurance is really important, not only for yourself, but also for your clients. If you want to be able to provide them the service that they deserve, you need to be charging what you're worth. And I know we talked about this a lot on, I think it was 2 episodes ago, about how to compete with the cheap competition. We talked a lot about how people value different things. Some people are going to value the cheapest price. They don't care about insurance. They don't care about, this or that, or maybe they do care, but maybe they simply can't afford it. And that's also okay. If they can't afford it, there are cheaper options available that I'm sure will do a great job. I never ever recommend going with the cheap competitors that aren't insured just for safety reasons and liability issues, but it is an option. So if you simply can't afford it, there are other options, but you shouldn't feel bad because you are charging what you need to charge to be able to provide insurance, workers' comp, good pay for your employees. These things are so important. There's no way you're going to be able to provide somebody with a good job without charging what you're worth. Now, let's reel it back in. You don't want to be unreasonable, right? You don't want to be charging unreasonable prices. You want to make sure that you're within the competition. So I always say shop the local competitor, call up your competitors, get their pricing, pretend to be a client, see how they do things. What are they charging per hour? You want to make sure that you're within range, because if you call all your local competitors and you're charging a hell of a lot more than them, and again, you want to call the real businesses. You don't want to call, solo cleaners that aren't insured, that aren't a legitimate business, regular cleaners. You don't want to call them because you will be more expensive than them, and that's okay. You want to make sure you are calling legitimate businesses who are, licensed, insured. You want to be calling them and seeing what their rates are and making sure you're right around where they are. You don't want to be, if you're a little higher, that's cool. Maybe you have more to offer, but you don't want to be ridiculous. You don't want to be unreasonable. You don't want to rip people off. But at the same time, you should never feel bad for charging what you're worth. You also want to make sure that your pricing makes sense. I mean, if you get your pricing down to a literal science, which is what I have it to, I have a whole pricing guide. It is very specific. It is literally anybody can follow this pricing guide that I give you, and you'll be able to quote somebody that calls. It's so specific. And I think that really has helped me personally take the emotions out of it. Because if I don't have anything to follow and somebody calls up, like that really nice gentleman last week, and says, he just got out of a rehab center, he needs help, my emotions are going to get in the way. It's inevitable. They're going to get in the way, and I'm going to offer him a cleaning that is way under what it should have been worth in terms of how long that cleaning will take, because I have nothing to go off of. All I have to go off of is that this guy was really, really nice and he needs our help, so I'm going to charge him low. But if I have a really specific pricing guide to follow, that's just about the math and the facts, I'm going to quote him what he needs to pay in order to make a profit on the job. And there's nothing wrong with that. I always say, and this is going to sound so horrible, but I always say we're chores and more, not chores and charity. And you need to be able to pay your bills at the end of the day and also make a profit for yourself. Because let's be real, we're not in business unless you want to go make a nonprofit, which is amazing. That's great. That's great work. But we're in business to make money. We're in business to stay afloat, to make a living. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So if you make sure that you have it down to a science, you will not feel bad because you are just going off of the facts. You are literally just going off of the facts. I go off of square footage. I go off of bedroom, bathroom count, pets. I go off of so many just solid facts in the house that it is going to 100% take my emotions out of the deal and allow me to confidently say these prices. You want to be confident. And I'm confident when I say my prices because I know that they are fair and I know that they are based off the facts. So that's one way. And if you need help, I'll do more episodes on that. If you're like, Laura, what is this pricing guide you speak of? How did you make it? I literally made it from scratch, and I would be more than happy to share with how I came up with that and what works best for me. So let me know when we post this, when you listen to it. Let me know if you want me to talk more about that. I'd be happy to do so. But you should never feel bad for charging what you're worth. Let's take it a little bit different direction here. I'm not saying that it's wrong to ever cut somebody a break. Because listen, I cut people breaks sometimes. Say somebody reaches out and it's in the budget to help them. It's in the budget to give them a discount. It's in the budget to give them a free cleaning. I'm not saying never ever help somebody in need. Never ever lower your prices to get somebody in your schedule. That's not what I'm saying at all. There are plenty of times where somebody will call and I can tell right away they're a great fit. They need our help. They are very polite. They didn't ask for a discount, but I just know it's not in the budget for them. There has been plenty of times that I will say, okay, I will cut you a break on that initial cleaning that's a bit more pricey to get you into that schedule for recurring service. Or even if it's a one-off cleaning and you're not going to get that recurring business, but you just want to do something good and you have it in the budget to do something good, go for it. All I'm saying is to be aware that you're doing it for the right reasons. Don't lower a price out of guilt. Because again, there's nothing to feel guilty about. Lower a price when you feel like you want to bless somebody. It is so good. I love that I have this business to be able to bless somebody. We bless people all the time. There's times where we have gaps in the schedule and we will discount a cleaning so much to where we are not making a bit of profit. Sometimes we lose money. We, to fill gaps in the schedule, have blessed random friends. Hey, we have a gap in our schedule today. We're going to come do a cleaning for you for free. We know you've been struggling. We've done that plenty of times. I mean, we talk about it all the time. We're partnered with Cleaning for a Reason. We give away a ton of free cleanings to cancer patients through Cleaning for a Reason. Just so you guys know, I don't know, we've talked about this on the podcast, I think, but Cleaning for a Reason is great. If you own a cleaning company, go sign up with Cleaning for a Reason. Go partner with them. They're going to pair you with local cancer patients to provide them with free cleanings while they're undergoing treatments. And I feel so lucky and so blessed that we are able to bless these people who really need our help, that they have no other option. They're sick. They've just undergone surgeries. They physically cannot clean themselves. So we bless them with free cleanings. And are we losing money on that? Absolutely. Yes. We pay our technicians exactly what they would make to go do these cleanings, and we don't make a bit of profit. We go into the red for those cleanings, but we don't mind doing it because we've worked it into the budget. We're able to make that happen, and we feel blessed to bless others. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with blessing people when you want to. Just make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. And I would say don't do it out of guilt. If you ever feel like you're doing it out of guilt, I love to bless people when they didn't ask for a discount. If somebody, all they care about is the price, chances are I'm not going to bless you. But we've had people call up, a hot lead that wants to get in, and they just mention to me that they're undergoing cancer treatments. I immediately direct them to Cleaning for a Reason and said, no, go get those first 2 cleanings for free. Go get those cleanings for free. We'll help you out. We'll give them to you for free. And then you get in for the recurring service at a cheaper price. There's nothing wrong with that. So I just want to make that abundantly clear. But again, I sound like beating a dead horse, but make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. All right, let's recap. To start off with, don't feel guilty about your pricings. You need to be able to separate emotion from business. Keep them completely separate. If you really struggle to, in person, say you're doing in-person estimates and you really struggle face-to-face with that person, you feel bad, you want to help them, you want to give them that for free, maybe try switching to phone estimates or even FaceTime estimates. It does still take a barrier away where maybe you'll feel more comfortable. Try something new. Try phone or FaceTime estimates. Also, you need to be able to pay your employees. If you have employees or you plan to have employees one day, you need to be able to pay them a livable, healthy, good wage. So you need to be able to charge enough to pay them well. That's literally the most important thing. If you are taking notes during this estimate, oh my God, during this episode, if you're taking notes during this episode, just circle that, star it a bunch of times, make sure you don't forget that point. If you have or plan to ever have employees, you need to charge enough to be able to pay them well because they deserve it. And just to go off to finalize this recap, make sure you have a pricing structure or a pricing guide that's about the facts and not the emotion. Make sure you have it so down packed that you could pass that pricing guide to anybody else and they'll be able to follow it just the same. This way you can take your emotions out of it. Whew, I feel like I can breathe now. I hope that this was helpful. I really do. If you guys like this topic, because I feel like this is a great topic, and I know we really stuck with pricing in particular for this topic, but if you like the topic of separating your emotions from the business, we can definitely talk about this more. I would love to do an episode about separating your emotions from the business when it comes to complaints, when it comes to customer service. We definitely have struggled with this a bit, but I feel like Holly and I have made leaps and bounds in this area. And we are emotional people. I don't know if you got that from just watching us, but we are very emotional people. So this was tough for us to really be able to separate emotion from the business in so many aspects of our life. And we're not perfect. We're still struggling with it every single day, but we've gotten a lot better with it. And if you have any ideas for any episode topics unrelated to this, you can absolutely send us an email just like Alexis did. This is living proof. We've gone over at least 2 of the topics she's given us so far. We're going to go over more. I literally have a little list forming of all the episodes we want to add. So if you send us an email at hustleduppodcast@gmail.com, send us what you want to talk about, send us some questions. We also would love to have more guests on. This is my dream. So if you have a problem, that you're willing to air out on the podcast to everybody, we will help you solve your biggest pain point or your biggest issue in your business right now live on the podcast. And don't worry, we'll edit. If you say something you don't want to, everybody to know, we'll edit. But I would love to just talk through an issue live with somebody if you are struggling with something that you think we'd be able to help you with. Because trust me, take it from me, if you're going through issues that we've already gone through, I would rather you learn it from us than go through those issues yourself. So whether or not you're going to email us, you could always slide into our DMs on Instagram at Hustle It Up Podcast on Instagram. If you want to connect with me personally, you can find me at Laura Ann Natoli on everything. Go follow our business page too, our business TikTok in particular at Chores and More on TikTok and Instagram. But on TikTok in particular, we really give a lot of business advice. We have a lot of good content on there. It's not just cleaning, it's cleaning advice, business advice, just real talk, all the things. Go find us on there. Holly has switched her social media handles so many times. I'm not sure what she is on anything, but they will absolutely be linked in the description box below. She will definitely be here next time to have another wonderful conversation with you all. I so hope this was helpful. Please let me know if it was, and have a great week. We'll see you next time.